Okay, Chapter 14, Direct and Online Marketing. Online marketing is a type of direct marketing, but it's such a big part and such a rapidly changing part that it gets its own part here. So, direct marketing has a number of advantages for both the buyers and the sellers. For the buyers, it's very convenient. So if you think about online shopping, for example, how convenient that is and how you can shop around without having to actually physically run around. They get a bigger variety of products. So if I'm shopping through catalogs or through online vendors or something like that, I can have a bigger variety than I would if I was limited to my geographic location. A lot of direct marketing forms are very interactive, so that helps. It's easy and it's also private, so nobody needs to know what you're buying, and so depending on what you're buying, that could be a big advantage. It's also very informative. A catalog or a website can explain a lot about the product, and so sometimes the consumer can learn a lot more information this way. And it can also be very immediate. I don't have to, if I want to do my shopping at 3 a.m., I had a sudden need for masking tape, I can go on Amazon and buy it then. I don't have to wait for the stores to open or till I can get there. It also has a lot of benefits to the sellers. It can really reduce costs for sellers if I don't have to have a physical store space or a lot of them. It can be very speedy. There's increased flexibility in here. It can be very efficient, and this can be, I can, shipping, and I can maintain control of my inventory, and I know exactly, I have updated information about what people are buying or what they're not. I also have access to new buyers this way. So, in the same way, we said the buyers have access to products they wouldn't have had before. The sellers are also not limited to their geographical location. They can have buyers all over the world this way through direct marketing. Okay, forms of direct marketing. First of all, personal selling is actually a form of direct marketing, but it's such a big part that it gets its own section. So we already talked about that one. Some of the other things here, direct mail is big. They generally will work off of a mail list. It's a very important. It can be a list of physical addresses or virtual addresses. So a lot of direct mail is email now, but generally through direct mail, I will send either to a virtual address or a physical address. I will send an offer or maybe a reminder or some sort of announcement about a new product or a new sale or something like that. So I send the offer to them, and then I hope that they respond to that. Catalog is another form of direct mailing, and this is very big. I think 62% of all direct marketing sales come from this. It helps us reach new customers outside of our geographic area. So instead of selling just to the people near me, I can sell to people all over the country or all over the world. Catalogs often create an emotional connection to because you see not just the product a lot of times, but you see it in use, and so you can project a feeling. Think about Land's End or something like that, or LL Bean, and so you're not seeing just the clothes, you're seeing them in a outdoorsy kind of a setting, so you create an atmosphere. Also, because you send these regularly, catalogs can be very effective at building long-term customer relationships. A lot of catalog shoppers are loyal customers. And another really big thing about catalogs here is that they are huge in driving web sales. And these catalogs can be digital or print, but a lot of times, that's why Land's End sends you all those catalogs. Even if you never call that 800 number and you go on the web, people like to look through a catalog more than they like to just scroll through things online. And so they look through the catalog, they pick out what they want, and they go online and order it. And that's huge. And so a lot of web purchases are driven by print catalogs. So those two go together. Okay, another type of direct mail or direct marketing would be telephone or telemarketing. And here you have outbound telemarketing. This was really crushed by the do not call thing. Business to business, it's still very big, and charities can still use outbound calling, but a lot of them now rely on inbound calling, and so these would be 800 numbers. And so I'm using some other form of direct marketing to try to stimulate an inbound call there. So again, it goes in conjunction with. But again, this is still very big. It's like 17% of all direct mail sales come out of telemarketing, either inbound or outbound. Direct response TV, that would be the infomercials, the yell and sell. Also home shopping channels. So QVC or Home Shopping Network or those types of things. Kiosks are big in both. So for business to consumer things, you see like the Kodak kiosks where you can print your things. They have one in Target. Redbox is a great example of this. Airlines have these where you can check in. But they're also big in business to business. At trade shows and things like that, kiosks are used a lot. And then another one that's growing rapidly is, online obviously is a type of direct. Well, so here, we'll put that here. Online is big, but it's so big we're going to talk about that separately. But a kind of a form of online would be digital direct, so advertising on mobile phones and podcasts and interactive. And so that one's growing very quickly too. ITV, they mentioned that one in your book. So that's a quickly growing one. Now online, that's so big in here that we are going to talk about that separately here. So that is the fastest growing form of direct marketing, and it's the internet has just changed this so dramatically. So you have a couple different types here. You have click only, and so these are online only firms. So this is Geico, Amazon. They don't have physical stores. They just go on. But a lot of stores are click and mortar. So they have in-person stores and they have online stores. So a lot of stores are this kind of click and mortar. It's a combination. So online domains, you have a couple things here. You have business to consumer, and that's huge. That's what we always think of. But since we're consumers, that's what we always think of in almost everything for this class. But also very, very big is business to business, so one business selling to another, and that is really, really big. Then there is consumer to consumer. So this would be, for instance, eBay would fall under this, or Craigslist would fall under this. Sometimes they're people trying to sell stuff, but sometimes they're just information, one consumer giving information to another. For example, there's a lot of blogs that will do this. And it might be, companies need to monitor this because it could be complaint sites. Companies use it, so even if this is a consumer-driven thing, like a blog, and you can see there's blogs out there for everything. I look at a lot of photography blogs on there. And so customers can use this. They can advertise on blogs. So they can advertise on a blog, or they can sponsor a blog. And so if it's a photography blog, or somebody blogging about photography, then you're going to see a lot of advertisements for that. And the blogger gets paid for that. And so the more hits they get on their blog, the more they can charge for their advertising. And then it's an advantage for the advertiser as well, because they have a very they've narrowed it down to a very specific demographic and interest. But you do have to be careful here because you can't control the content on that blog that you're advertising for. So it could be very effective, but you also have to be kind of careful in there too. And then the fourth domain that we have here is consumer to business. And the main thing here you see are these kind of complaint websites. WalmartSucks.com, that kind of thing. And businesses can use these to try to get feedback, find out where problems are. There's software now that companies will use to track how often their name comes up on the web. So they're looking for these types of things here, this consumer to consumer and consumer to business, making sure that people are saying good things about their company. If they're saying bad things, where's it going? What's the problem? Is it something they can address? Is it something they can respond to? So that would be consumer to business. But companies do monitor these to see what's going on out there, what people are saying about their company. All right, so ways that companies can have an online presence. Social networks, so they can have a presence on existing social networks. They can be on YouTube, they can be on Facebook, or sometimes they create their own social networks. Nike, I think, has one of their own, so you can join those in there. Again, it can be hard to control the content. Once you have, say, a Facebook page for your company, you can't control what people post to it. So you have to be careful that if people aren't happy with your product, they're going to go right there and they're going to tell everybody, and then everybody else is going to see that as well. So you do have to watch that. Companies can have an online presence through a website, and there's two different websites. They can have a corporate website, which is really just to build customer goodwill. Or they could have a marketing website where they were actually going to either sell directly to the customers or to encourage sales, to do things like, well, here's where you can go buy it right now. Whereas a corporate website is really just more informative. So this is going to be more the marketing one is going to be more commerce related. So another way to be online is to, and again, companies will probably use a variety of these, is to add online ads or promotions. This is now really, we talked about the different media for advertising. This is now a major medium in there. Also, email is still growing. It's still very fast, but we do have to watch out for spam. You can overdo it, and people can get sick of you. And a lot of times now, you have to provide a way for people to unsubscribe to your emails. But sometimes it'll just say, when you go to unsubscribe, it'll say, "What's the problem?" Okay, I just want to see less of this. I don't mind getting occasional emails, but I don't want to get stuff every single day from you. And then another one on here is mobile, and we talked about that a little bit. When this is growing very fast. You can send ads right to people's phones when they, look at Starbucks, how they have an app, and so you can purchase stuff directly through the app, and they'll send you special offers and all that kind of thing. So technology is really changing the way we can have an online presence here. Okay, so so online ads or promotions, we said, is a major medium. Let's talk about that in a little more detail down here. So different types of online advertising or promotions. Banner ads, when you go to a website, there's an ad at the, it could be it could be at the top, it could be down at the bottom, it could be along the side. It's interesting that a lot of times people just tune those out because they're so used to them and they're all over. And there's technology out there that you can track where somebody's eye goes. And it was interesting because they were tracking, I can't remember what company had this ad, but it was really big, a top banner, and it was bright red or something like that. So you would think it would really get somebody's attention, but people they kind of wear these glasses and they track where their eyes go, and people just never even looked at that big banner. And so it showed where their eyes went and what types of things people look at, and people were just tuning out the banners completely. So that's something to be aware of there. Interstitials are kind of pop-up things. They can appear in between screens when you're switching from one site to another, or one screen to another, or while the page is loading. They can pop up there. Search-related ads is the largest form of online ads. So when I go to Google and I type, bathing suit, the ones that top up I guess they kind of have to tell you now that these are sponsored ads, but basically they pay to come up to the top of the search thing. And the other thing is, you see, once you say, that's one thing when you come up to the top of the search, but when I say that, let's say I type in bathing suit, then all of a sudden the ads that are going to come along the side of Google are for Land's End bathing suits or this type of thing. You also see, and they're getting very good at this, so let's say I Google search bathing suits. The next time I pop onto Facebook, guess what's going to pop up on my ads in Facebook? It's going to be advertisements for bathing suits. Or it could be even the ones I specifically looked for. Let's say I went to Land's End and looked at it. Next time I go to Facebook, there's going to be an ad from Land's End right there. So those are search-related ads, online ads. Content sponsorship is another one. You'll see these a lot. Like, let's say it's the Weather Channel and it's spring and you see an ad for Claritin or something like that. News-related ads, finance, you might see a lot of ads for, say, the Wall Street Journal on finance-related websites or apps or something like that. Alliances and affiliates are when two companies work together to promote each other. So I might Amazon is used for this. Amazon has 900,000 affiliates or something like that they work with. That when you go to their website, they'll send you to Amazon and they sell through Amazon and all that kind of thing. So they'll work together. Viral is another big one, especially if you can get this working. It's really great. So this is the internet version of word-of-mouth advertising, which is awesome because once you put it out there, you don't have to pay. So all these other things you're paying for, or TV ads you're paying for, but if you can get this out there and then it goes viral, you're not paying for it every time somebody shares this video. So that could be great. Elf Yourself at Christmas is actually sponsored by Office Max, I think. But every time you share your little Elf Yourself and then your friend makes one and shares it, if you haven't done that, you really should go look at those. They're hysterical. Then that's promoting Office Max, and they didn't have to pay for that. Or I think those Old Spice ones went viral. Those the man your girlfriend wishes you were, or something like that, and they're really funny. And every time somebody shares a link to that on Facebook or something, then it goes out there, and so that's free advertising. And so those are great if you can get something to go viral in there. Now, there's a lot that companies can do with technology now, and so you start to go into some ethical areas here. Some of the areas you have to watch that you're not deceptive, or sometimes it's really just irritation. It's not deceptive, but you're just bombarding these people with things, or things are popping up on your phone. It might not be deceptive, but it certainly can be irritation. It's also there's also, of course, fraud related issues. It seems to be. Let's see here. There's lots of examples on the internet of fraud, which obviously is illegal, but it's easier to do, and people don't always understand that that it is an ad or something like that. Invasion of privacy is another big one here. Again, some people like that the ads are much more concentrated, but I find it a little bit unnerving when I'm doing a Google search and then the next time I'm on Facebook it's on there when I wasn't even on that same computer when I did that Google search. And so sometimes it's a little bit creepy, and sometimes when people realize just how much advertisers know about them, it can creep them out a little bit. So advertisers are walking a fine line between really customizing offers to their customers or messages to their customers and creeping them out and feeling like they're invading their privacy. Marketers also have to be careful here. What they don't want to do is make people annoyed enough that they start calling for. So I'll say careful not to create a need for government action. If you're continually deceptive or irritating, well, I mean, that's how do not call started. You know, outbound calling was very common, government action, and it just got to be where it was just constant, and people just couldn't take it anymore, and people complained and complained and complained, and so the government came forward with the do not call, and that really, really changed what marketers were allowed to do. So you don't want to push it too far that the government comes in and says, all right, you have to just completely stop that. So that's another thing that marketers have to be careful with, that they don't go overboard on some of these things. So there's chapter 14.